how important is it for a Baal Tshuva specifically to be able to use modern tools and the internet to be able to do outreach and to get messages spread in ways that we couldn't have done in previous generations?
Wow. I'll tell you a story with the Lubavitcher Rebbe that back in the day, I don't know if it was the 60s, maybe, they started to broadcast on Motzei Shabbos in New York, lessons in Tanya. Rabbi Yosef Weinberg, Alav Shalom. If you've ever seen the book in English, Lessons in Tanya, which is like the classic kind of,
Right
oh,
here.
you have it. Awesome. It's like the classic kind of explanation of the translation explanation of the Tanya. That book originated as radio broadcasts that were done by Rabbi Yosef Weinberg every Motzei Shabbos in New York.
Wow.
Now, at the time, like, that was totally revolutionary to go and start teaching Tanya on the radio. Chassidus was taught by Rebbes at the Tish, at a Farbrengen, after a Maimer Nigun, after all the preparations, and to go put Tanya, not stories from the Parsha or whatever, but actual straight up Chassidus on the radio was a big chidush at that time. And at that time, the Rebbe not only approved of it, but he encouraged it, and he would listen to the radio broadcast on Motzei Shabbos, and then he would give Rabbi Weinberg comments afterwards, like, this you said not exactly that, you should say it differently. And the Rebbe said at that time that people think that the radio was made like to broadcast news and music and all kinds of, things that people listen to the radio, and that we're just sort of hitching a ride on it with the Tanya classes. The Rebbe said, no, that's not true. The radio was made to broadcast Tanya, but in order that it should come into the vessels of the world, and it shouldn't be done in a miraculous way that all these radio stations and technology and everything are set up just for Tanya, which would be like totally miraculous. So Hashem brought it about in a way that most of what's going on in the radio is news and music and sports and all of that. And the Tanya is there for those who want to see it and hear it. And then I'll take it a step further. Another thing with the Rebbe was that when cable television came out and there was the ability to do live broadcasts of the Farbrengens, the Rebbe pushed very, very much to do live broadcast of all the Farbrengens that were during weekdays. The Rebbe had them invest money to bring the best technology, the best television cameras, microphones, sound systems. The hookup room, if you know what that means, which had a different meaning than how people use that term today. But they had this room, they call it the hookup room, which was, I still remember when I was in yeshiva, that every yeshiva around the world of Chabad had their own little room that was connected in by telephone to the central room in 770, by which all the Farbrengens during the week would be broadcast out to all the yeshivas all over the world over the PA system. And if the Rebbe would Farbring during the week, the message would go out. There was no WhatsApp or anything, but phone calls and beepers. They had beepers in those days, would go off saying the Rebbe is Farbringing. And in every city around the world where there were Chabad Hasidim, people would run to the local place where they're doing the broadcast to listen to the Farbringen over the PA system. So what I'm getting at is,
That's
from
amazing.
the point of view of Hasidus, and at least personally as someone who's connected to Chabad, there's no question to me that if we have, forget about here, I got a proper microphone, some lighting and stuff like that, but this is just recently. I've been doing stuff on the internet trying to spread stuff of Torah, Eretz Yisrael for quite a few years just with the phone that's in my pocket. And you can live broadcast, you can do YouTube videos, you can do so much stuff, and there are so many people around the world, Jews and lahavdil non-Jews, who are thirsty to hear the things that to us are just like every day. They're obvious. They seem almost mundane to us after a while because we get so used to them, and we have the ability to share it with people. So to me, I think like what the Rebbe said, the internet and the smartphones were not made for what people use them for. They were made for this, what we're doing right here.